Okay, the Impact recap's a little bit late. Okay. So this is going to be your video for Thursday. So, I don't have time for housekeeping. I actually got to get to bed early. Get to bed very soon, not early. It's very late right now. To get to bed soon because I have to be up tomorrow so we can watch White House Down and the other worthless piece of crap movie that's coming out this week. So, we're going to do that. And we got a lot of content coming from AJ this week, but I want to talk about TNA. And we're going to talk about TNA and the show I just got done watching. Now, we had a huge storm tonight. I was stuck at B-dubs with AJ. Got people watching. And that was fun. But we got out of there a little bit later than we normally would. And instead of just watching Impact from where I was about an hour late. So I just waited till 11. I just got done watching Impact a minute ago, so it's fresh in my mind exactly what happened. So without any further ado, let's talk about it. But oh yeah, real quick, I told you so about Money in the Bank and about Cabin in the Woods. So, but we'll talk about that later. I promise. We'll do Halloween Horror Nights information very soon. There's some different stuff that's coming out about Legendary Truth and how that is connected, and the Frequent Fear Pass, Russian Fear Pass, and the ticket prices in general have been announced for Halloween Horror Nights. But we'll talk about that later. So, just open the show with Sting coming out. It says, "Bully, I told you the main event Mafia would rise, and I said the main event Mafia would grow, and I promised last week was only just a touch of things to come." So I went back to the future cornerstone of the main event Mafia and back to the roots of the main event Mafia and brought Kurt Angle back into the fold. So Kurt Angle comes out and says, you know, two of the originals of the main event Mafia nearly 4 years ago. That's him and Sting. Obviously, you're neglecting to mention Booker T, Kevin Nash, because of course they are one way or another working for WWE. Nash is under a Legends contract. Booker T is still general manager of SmackDown as of this moment. And Taz was a member of that main event Mafia at one point too. So each member had to be a former World Heavyweight Champion. Right. Nobody could stop us. Well, now it seems like the team and the stable to beat at this point is the Aces and Eights. They're more violent and more vicious. Now, because of the Aces and Eights, Sting will never get another World Heavyweight title match. And also, because of Aces and Eights, Kurt Angle was screwed out of the Bound for Glory series. But as a real family, they always stick together. There's two goals, a 2-point goal to this new version of the main event Mafia. Number one, destroy the Aces and Eights once and for all, and make sure that Bully Ray loses the World Heavyweight Championship. We're going to fight fire with fire. And tonight, later on, you'll meet the newest member of the main event Mafia, the newest member of the family. So we get our first match of the evening. It is a three-way dance for the X Division Championship. Newly crowned champion Chris Sabin defending its former champion Kenny King and Suicide. So before this match starts, Doc and Mr. Anderson jump Sabin and they throw him against the wall. Bully Ray comes out of the shadows and says, "I just want to wish you luck. And once you win, you just need to do the right thing, Chris. The right thing is not to cash in your opportunity at the World Heavyweight Championship, my World Heavyweight Championship. I'm a bad person, and you don't want any part of this bad person." So we get our match, and we get midway through the match. Suicide with a missile drop kick on Kenny King and nails a somersault off the ring apron onto Kenny King. And Sabin hits a pescado on both King and Suicide and tosses Kenny King back in. Puts King on the turnbuckle. Ties him up to the Tree of Woe. So Suicide's down and he ends up getting knocked into the corner. And so he's laying in the buckle. Sabin runs in and nails a seated drop kick on Kenny King, knocking King into the prone Suicide on the floor, not the floor of the mat at this point, and Sabin goes for the cradle shock. It gets reversed, and a cravat, and Suicide drops him on the middle turnbuckle, like face first on the middle turnbuckle, and gets a 2 count out of it. So Suicide gets crotched on the top rope by Kenny King, and Sabin goes for the superplex. He superplexes Suicide. It's a tower spot. So he superplexes Suicide as Kenny King is powerbombing Sabin. King makes the cover on Sabin, then only gets a 2 count, so he goes for the Royal Flush, and gets countered, and sliding dropkick on Suicide knocks him to the floor. So, Sabin hits an enziguri kick, and he goes for the cross special brainbuster, and he probably could have got the 3 right there, but Suicide kicks him in the back of the head to break the pinfall up, knocks Sabin to the arena floor, and he double chicken wings, look like he's getting ready to go for the double chicken wing into the double gut buster, the reverse lung blower. And that was not to be because he elbows out of it. And King hits a backflip kick to the side of the head. Goes for a whip. There's a tip up from Suicide. And he goes for kind of a inside cradle, kind of a small package, but he doesn't really fully lock the legs. So he basically just has him rolled up, but Sabin kicks out at 2. Sabin, long day. King kicks out at 2. Nails a jawbreaker. He goes for the Royal Flush. He gets countered to a sunset. He gets stacked up, grabs the ropes, and Suicide wins the X Division Championship. Excuse me. Frog in my throat today. So Hulk Hogan comes out. And he's flanked with a very injured-looking T.J. Perkins. And for those of you that don't know, for this version of Suicide, T.J. Perkins has been playing the character. Of course, we're not going to mention the fact that Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian, the members of the Bad Influence, were the former Suicide as well. They're talking about the fact that T.J. Perkins has been and always will be Suicide. But until tonight, someone jumped him in the back and stole the costume. So, Suicide grabs the X Division Championship that he just won, leaves to the crowd, and we focus on Hulk Hogan saying, you know, we're not going to play these games. You've got till the end of the night to rip off that mask, reveal yourself. I don't care who you are, but if you don't reveal yourself, I'm going to strip your championship away. So our next match is our gut check challenge for the night. Ryan Howe, who we all remember from the last season of Tough Enough, taking on Adam O'Reiner. Well, for those of you that don't know who Adam O'Reiner is, you should. If you're a WWE fan, if you're a WWE YouTube fan, if you're a Z True Long Island Story fan, Adam O'Reiner is the Big O. And so it's Big O against Ryan Howe in our gut check match. So Ryan Howe comes out and they're really hyping up his musical background. So he comes out with a, I'll call it like I said, he comes out with a flying V. And Taz beats me to it because it's the first thing that comes to my mind. So I guess he comes out playing like Jimi Hendrix's version of Star Spangled Banner. Or like a version of it. Like a knockoff version of it. So he's playing the guitar. And Taz says it before I can, so I gotta give Taz credit, but it's the first thing that was going through my head. Like, I'm sure all of you that are longtime wrestling fans would understand what I'm talking about. He's got the velour tights, and he's got the guitar, he's got the long blonde hair, he looks like Ryan Edmonds. That's the reason why it made sense that they had a nice little match. Here's the thing. Taz makes the reference and says, I can't believe it. And Tanae's kind of confused. It's like, it's Van Hammer, which is hilarious because for those of you that don't know, I'm a very big, well, I don't like Van Hammer. I've never liked Van Hammer. I never will like Van Hammer. And the only thing Van Hammer has to his credit is the fact that he is the reason that Mark and Jay Briscoe got wrestling training. Wrap your head around that for a second. The Briscoe brothers, they won the current, for the time being, Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion. And 2, the it was always in the top, the upper mid-card of Ring of Honor, Jay Briscoe and Mark Briscoe. They were trained by Van Hammer. It just hurts my head thinking about that. I apologize for the coughing. So I even wrote my notes here, how Van hammers his way to the ring. So, O-Reiner with a boot and a high-velocity whip sends Howe into the buckle hard, chest first. He goes for his over-the-shoulder power slam, which is what he finishes people off in NYWC, which he is still the current heavyweight champion of NYWC. Howes does kick out of the over-shoulder power slam. Howe with like a headbutt to the ribs, but pretty much nothing. Catches a back elbow, and this looked bad. He springboards off the middle rope, springboards off the top rope, and it looked like it was supposed to be a springboard into a crossbody. Well, Big O was a little far away, and Howe wasn't able to make the jump, so it was kind of like a double springboard into a forearm. So that's what I'm going to call it. So he gets a 2 count out of it. Huge clothesline from the Big O on Ryan Howe. And multiple shoulders in the midsection while he's in the corner. He charges him for the splash, and he misses. Nails the buckle. Howe hits a spinning back elbow, a drop kick, and then a leg lariat, but O-Reiner kicks out at 2. So he gets nailed with the uppercut. And he runs off the ropes to try to finish off the Big O, and he gets caught with a power slam, and that's the end. It was a really sloppy match. Not very good at all. Not really good about showcasing off O-Reiner's talents. So, there's always that. How didn't come off very well, but Big O obviously was the star of the match, and they wanted to build that up. I think TNA would be smart to sign Adam O-Reiner to a contract. I don't know what they call him. I said armchair booking a long time ago was to put the Big O with Robbie E and call him the Big Bro, but they didn't go with that. It's funny, like a month down the road, after I brought that up here on Pop, that's what ends up happening. He gets brought into TNA, so he was one of the higher gut check participants in like the top 10. Like AJ Kirsch is on that list. He's also former Tough Enough. And Lufisto and my boy Chance Prophet, they're all on that list. So it was interesting to see where they all finished. I looked at that list. So, but, God, my stomach is killing me today. So Sting and Kurt Angle are walking around the back, and they do this numerous times during the night, and they're searching for new members of the family. So TJ is beside himself. Bully Ray shows up and says, "You have a bright future, but I want to know something. Did Kurt Angle and Sting like put you up to this?" And he's like, "No, I don't know what happened. I just kind of got jumped." Like, you know what? All I can tell you, Bully, is my opportunity was taken away from me. Bully grabs TJ for a second, and he basically says, "Okay, now you can leave." So we get our next contest of the evening. Mickie James defending the Knockouts Championship against Velvet Sky. The big rematch finally happens. So Mickie comes out and she apologizes because the title just changes people. We were best friends when you were champion, but now I'm champion, you want nothing to do with me. I care about your health, so I'm going to give you one last chance, one final opportunity to just walk out right now and live again to fight another day. Velvet, do the right thing. Don't be a $3 stubborn pack mule that you are, and just simply walk away. Well, on that, she got speared, and then she starts fighting away. We get midway through the match. She hits the side Russian leg sweep for a 2 count. So Mickie goes to the floor to break up the momentum. Smart move. So Mickie pulls Velvet under the bottom rope and slams her knee into the canvas. Well, she pulls her back in, covers, and gets a 2 count. And then she goes for another 2 count. Well, another 2 count. Another pinfall attempt. She gets a 2 count again. She goes for a leg grapevine, and Velvet kicks it off. A snapmare and a seated drop kick from Mickie James for a 2 count. Velvet counters with a small package and numerous shoulders in the corners. Open hand slap of the face from Mickie James, and another shoulder block. The ODB backs her off. Of course, she's the Knockouts official. If you were curious, if you didn't know already. So, kicks her in the face, and a clothesline, and another clothesline, and a spinning back elbow. Goes for the whip. It gets reversed. Velvet hits a face buster, but Mickie James kicks out at 2. Forearm boot, and there's a huge chop, a whip, and a discus clothesline, but Mickie again breaks momentum, slides to the floor. Velvet climbs out after her. It's a satellite head scissors on the floor, and a big spear, pounding away on the current Knockouts champion. So Velvet tosses her back in the ring, and Mickie hits a really weak spin kick to the knee, takes her out, goes for a really sloppy DDT, and gets a 2 count out of it. A boot to the midsection, a DDT, it gets reversed, and Velvet hits the neck breaker off the ropes, and somehow Mickie kicks out at 2.5. So a boot to the midsection, going for in-yo face, and it gets countered, and satellite head scissor gets countered again, really sloppily, by the way. Just like a real basic kick to the back of the knee to take the knee out momentarily, and she locks on this deathlock crossface, like an Indian deathlock with like a crossface applied to it. Kind of like an Indian deathlock STF, I guess the best way to put it, honestly. So she gets the tap out on that because Velvet has to give it up. Basically, Christy Hemme shows up to try to talk to Velvet, and Velvet says, "I'm just heartbroken right now." So, excuse me. Velvet ends up unsuccessful in unseating Mickie James for the Knockouts Championship. So, I don't think this feud's over yet either, so we'll see what happens. And where does Taryn Terrell and Gail Kim fit into this? A ladder match coming up. I think it's next week on Impact. I'm not exactly sure. I think next week it'll be Vegas. I'm not positive. So, here's an interesting little tidbit. Bobby Roode is getting ready to go to the ring for his Bound for Glory series match against Magnus. Well, and I'd never mentioned this before, so I'm going to mention this for the first time. He's wearing the Terrence Taylor robe. And, yeah, didn't put that together, did you? Bobby Roode is this generation's Terrence Taylor. But, to his credit, Bobby Roode has done a whole lot more opportunity-wise than Terry Taylor ever has in the wrestling business. At least as a wrestler. Sorry about this video, guys. I'm just like, I don't know, indigestion or like coughing, and it's like my throat's just like sore tonight. I apologize for that. So Bobby Roode's walking by Kurt Angle and Sting, and they're looking for new members of the Main Event Mafia. Well, Roode kind of smirks, and Sting and Angle kind of like, he's a former world champion. More than meets the eye, maybe? We'll see. So, we get our Bound for Glory series match between Magnus and Bobby Roode. So, Magnus gets hit with a reverse neck breaker for a 2 count. He locks on a chin lock. Magnus punches out. They trade blows middle of the ring, and Roode gets countered with a backdrop suplex from Magnus. Clothesline, and then a whip in, and Magnus hits the rebound lariat. Roode ends up going up middle rope for the crossbody. He gets caught, and the press up, and the suplex on Bobby Roode. So he goes up top. Roode catches him, going for the superplex, and Magnus forearms him off, so he hits the canvas hard. And it's that huge top rope elbow, and somehow Roode kicks out at 2.5. A whip, it's reversed, and a back elbow. Charges in, and he catches the double R spine buster, does Magnus. So, there's a boot. Roode's going for the perfect plex, and it gets countered, and somehow Magnus ends up hitting the Michinoku driver out of nowhere and gets the 3. So, Magnus wins this Bound for Glory series matchup. 2 big victories for Magnus in the BFG series, but we'll talk about the standings in just a minute. We get a very odd series of segments here. So Bully Ray, Mr. Anderson, and Doc come into the locker room of, this is a really strange tandem, Jesse Goddard, Robbie E., and Chavo Guerrero Jr. Yeah, K-Fab is dead. So they're looking for suicide, like you do. And they basically just have a draw back and forth. Well, we get the current TNA World Tag Team Champions, Cowboy James Storm and Gunner, out to the ring. So we don't look like scientists because they say tag team wrestling is a science. You don't have to like your partner. Just as long as they have your back, you're good to go. A lot of tough guys in the back. Well, pretty much on this, Robbie E comes out with Jesse and Tara, who we haven't seen him forever. And Robbie E gets on the mic and says, "You two think you're tough, bro. Hey Storm, choosing him over me, that was a big mistake, bro. This train has sailed down the road, bro." Train has sailed down the road? Ship has sailed? Yeah, that's fine. Train has sailed? Really? You're inhaling way too much, like, spray tan fumes there, Robbie. Even though I think Robbie is awesome. So, we're the future of tag team wrestling. We are the bromans. Wait a minute. Did you say you're the bromance? No. We're the bromance. And he was like, yeah, once again, you said you're the bromance. And Jesse's like, shut up, bro. It's 2 words. Bromans. Bromans. And at the risk of sounding like Flight of the Conchords, with using the word mans, or men's in this case would be Flight of the Conchords, sorry. Plus we got a hot chick, which of course is referring to Tara. James Storm gets off the line and says, "Tara is a butterface." So Jesse goes to strike and Gunner's like, "No, I ain't having that." And knocked Jesse out cold. He's like, "Well, I didn't mean for that to happen, but sorry about your damn luck." And that's the end of that. Main event of the evening is also a Bound for Glory series matchup. Samoa Joe taking on Aces and Eights member Mr. Anderson. So Anderson hits a drop toe hold into the middle turnbuckle, tossing Joe to the floor. Joe gets sent hard into the ring apron, back first. He gets back in, goes for a lateral press, gets a 2 count. He goes into an arm bar, and Joe with a clothesline attempt. Anderson ducks out of it, hits a spinning neck breaker. Joe kicks out at 2. Whip reverse, and Anderson goes off the middle turnbuckle. Gets caught with an inverted atomic drop, and of course he hits the Yakuza kick off the ropes, and the second Anderson hits the canvas. He gets nailed with that leaping back senton, and Joe somehow only gets a 2 count out of it. So he goes like this double leg and like a backdrop, like a short backdrop. So at this point, Doc and Nux hit the ringside area. I don't know why I use that weird terminology. Hit the ringside area, and they're there for the distraction. There's a boot and a DDT on Joe for a 2. Another sloppy DDT. DDTs were not the greatest tonight, honestly. He goes off the ropes, and he gets caught with that snap power slam from Joe. So Sting and Kurt Angle hit the ring, and they battle Aces and Eights. And they all brawl through the crowd. Anderson goes for the mic check. Joe grabs the ropes, and he finds nothing but the back of his head against the canvas. Joe locks on the coquina clutch, and Anderson taps. So, big 10-point victory for Samoa Joe in the Bound for Glory series. And after the match is over, Kurt Angle and Sting embrace with Samoa Joe, revealing Samoa Joe as the newest member of the Main Event Mafia. I have 0 problems with this, because it fits the group, number 1, and number 2, it's actually a really awesome choice, given who's still in TNA, who would work in the Main Event Mafia. Joe is the right answer, and I have no problems with that. So we get our final segment of the evening, and we're trying to find out all night who Suicide is. Obviously, we know it's TJ Perkins, or some of you know it's Kiyoshi, or Christopher Daniels, or Frankie Kazarian. No. It's someone else, and this person stole the X Division Championship. He became the ultimate opportunist. I wonder who it is, based upon the words ultimate opportunist. So, wow, I'm not being cryptic at all, am I? So, Hogan comes out, he says, "You know what, tonight we're supposed to be about the X Division, brother. About the X Division champion putting it all on the line and getting a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship at Destination X on July 18th. Suicide, I want you to come out right now or you're stripped." So Suicide comes out. He says, "I've been around the block a few times. I understand how to take advantages of opportunity. It's not about cheating. I want you to pull off the mask. Comes Bully Ray. Bully says, you know what, for the first time in a long time, Dad, we're actually on the same page. I want you to take off that mask right now. You know, the only reason you won tonight is because I put the fear of God into Chris Sabin. And he pauses and he goes, no, scratch that. The reason I won tonight is because I put the fear of me in Chris Sabin. It's awesome heel work, mic work from Bully Ray. Walk away, you don't want a piece of me, you don't want a piece of this. So Suicide gets on the mic and goes, I was in darkness. I felt the pain, and my torment is shared. In life, we are given choices, or options. The easy thing, or the right thing. Bully, you ask the people if they know who you are. The real question is, who am I? See, I beat you before. And I started option C. He rips off the mask. A double. Austin Aries. He says, I did it before, and I'll do it again. That is how we end Impact. What an amazing ending to the show. Let's talk about the BFG series, shall we? Well, as of this very moment, now this doesn't have to do anything with like house shows that I haven't got a chance to read results for yet. The Bound for Glory series on television, as of tonight, is setting at this. Joseph Park, Jay Bradley, Hernandez, Frankie Kazarian, and Bobby Roode are all tied with 0. Big goose egg. AJ Styles is sitting pretty with 2. We have a 4-way tie with Mr. Anderson, Jeff Hardy, Christopher Daniels, and Austin Aries with 7. I don't think Aries cares much about the BFG series right now, given the fact that he is going to get an opportunity at Bully Ray at Destination X. In a couple weeks, actually. Samoa Joe has 12, and somehow, someway, your leader of the Bound for Glory series is Magnus. And I find this really interesting given the fact that Magnus is homegrown talent, number 1. He didn't start anywhere first. He got his acclaim in TNA. Magnus also is a marketable star that at one point last year, or maybe a year before, or a couple years ago, I don't remember, it was said that Magnus was really interested in leaving TNA. And he was off television, he wasn't happy with any of the situation, he wanted to leave the company, and everybody was saying, Magnus, go to the WWE, go to the WWE. You know what? What he did, he re-signed with TNA, and they're pushing him to the moon. And I like this, because I've been liking Magnus ever since he was in the British Invasion. His Hugh Jackman look-alike self, even though now, if you really want to be technical, CM Punk looks like Hugh Jackman now. But that's another story altogether. So, that's the BFG series right now. And what did we learn, boys and girls? Well, Sting and Kurt Angle, along with Samoa Joe, make up the Main Event Mafia. Who are the new members still to come? We will find out in the near future. There's a lot of people it could possibly be. Don't think it'll be anybody else in the BFG series. I did say it would be James Storm and Gunner. That's not going to happen now. I'm trying to think anyone that I could think of. Jeff Hardy would work in the Main Event Mafia, I guess. I mean, he doesn't really... Hulk Hogan, I guess. If they really want to go that direction, they could do that. They could bring new people into the company. I think that's a smart move. I think they should bring new hires to Impact into the Main Event Mafia. So, it still fits with the criteria being former world champions, but you're not exactly making it about, like, everyone you've seen before. There's not, like, any, like, weak link or someone who's not a former world champion. So, I mean, you got to stick with that mantra, so you got to keep it that way. Had a good three-way to start off the show. A Suicide capturing the X Division Championship, and it was really interesting to see what happened throughout the night. It was all about Suicide tonight on Impact, and it was really awesome to see that someone stole TJ Perkins' mask and outfit and stole the X Division Championship that way. And apparently it sounds like that title change is going to stay. And Suicide, or Austin Aries, is the new X Division Champion. And of course he will cash in the X Division title against Bully Ray at Destination X. Do I think Austin Aries is going to beat Bully Ray, you know, it very well could happen because it's happened before. But then again, you also got to understand the fact that they probably want to build Bully Ray to losing the World Heavyweight Championship at Bound for Glory, and that's July 18th and October 20th, two completely different animals. But if you get the belt off of Aries and put it back on Bully Ray, I don't have a problem with Aries winning the title at Destination X. It's kind of like X Division title is pretty much TNA's Money in the Bank, I guess you could say that. So, again, I don't have a problem with that. If you give Aries the championship at Destination X, I don't have a problem with it at all. You have Bully Ray take it back and still have him against whomever you want to put him against at Bound for Glory and have Bully Ray lose the title that way. Big O and Ryan Howe, not the greatest chemistry. The match was pretty clunky. Big O looked okay. Ryan Howe was more gimmick than anything else. The match was not very good. It ended kind of out of nowhere with that power slam off the ropes. I don't know, it didn't really work. We didn't see the lifting spine buster that he usually does. I guess probably because Bobby Roode does that double R spine buster, so I'm guessing it's probably why Adam O'Reiner did not use his regular finish on Ryan Howe, and he won with a kind of a sloppy power slam. Do I think that Gutcheck will select O'Reiner into the company on next week's Impact? Yes, I do. Do I think it's the right move? Yes, I do. So, there's no problem with that. Mickey and Velvet, not a good match for these two. They've had better matches before. It just seemed like something was not clicking in the match. Wasn't really working the match overall. Velvet sold the knee most of the match. I mean, pretty much the whole match. And Mickey worked a new submission that I've not seen in a long time. It's kind of a hyperextension of the knee. Pretty much she just locked onto the knee and like pressed up on it. And kind of like trying to pull the knee out of the socket, if that's even possible. So that was pretty much how she did things. So we've got this match out of the way, and now we're probably building towards Mickie James and Taryn Terrell, because I see Taryn Terrell beating Gail Kim in the ladder match. If you would have told me that I was going to be really excited about a ladder match between two women in North America and not in an independent company, I would have probably called you a liar. But given the last Knockout Standing match at Slammiversary and how awesome it truly was, I'm telling you right now, this match, this ladder match between Taryn Terrell and Gail Kim is going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to that. It's not this week on Impact. Well, no, it's obviously not this week, because this week's over. It's not next week on Impact. I think it's the week after. So, that's going to be good. So, another thing, too. Magnus gets a very, very big win over the longest reigning champion in TNA Impact history, and that's Bobby Roode. Magnus is sitting pretty on top of the BFG series right now, and given how show results, I don't think that's going to last for long, but it's nice to see that someone new is on top of the leaderboard. Obviously, I'm biased to say that I wish it was Christopher Daniels, but that's another story altogether. So, interesting new tandem of the Bromans, M-A-N-S, the Bromans, which is Jesse Goddard and Robbie E., with Tara in their corner taking on Cowboy James Storm and Gunner. I'm sure that's going to happen sooner rather than later. Basically, Jesse got cold-cocked by Gunner, so Gunner was like, no, and done, finished. So I like this Robbie E. Jesse team. I don't think Jesse's a really god-awful worker, but Robbie E. is great on the mic, he's great in the ring, and Tara is really great at what she does too. So I really think this is going to work really well in the long run. So Joe and Anderson had a good match. This was basically to introduce the fact that Joe is the newest member of the Main Event Mafia. I have no problems with that. I like Mojo in the Main Event Mafia. I think it fits really well. We're leading really rapidly towards the end of Aces and Eights. Bound for Glory is going to be the end of Aces and Eights. I guarantee it. Now, where everybody goes, anyone's guess. Rumor has it Taz might leave TNA. I don't know if I believe that or not. I mean, that tweet, it could be all cryptic. Who knows? It may not be a big deal. But that's pretty much what we got right now. I think Garrett and Wes and Devon not being on the show, a little interesting. Nux actually showed up for the first time All I care about with this whole Aces and Eights angle is, number one, you keep Bully Ray a top heel. Devon can be a heel. Mr. Anderson can stay a heel. I really think that they need to push Doc. I'm a big Gallows supporter, and I really want to see Doc get pushed. I think this is exactly what's going to happen. They've teased some distension in the ranks between Anderson and Doc lately, and tonight they actually showed absolutely nothing. It showed like they were friends, which is very strange because there's a lot of animosity given the fact that Anderson was handpicked to win the Aces and Eights Battle Royal to get that slot in the Bound for Glory series. So maybe a little bit of trouble in paradise. So this is an interesting Impact. So that's the show, and we look forward to what's going to happen next week on Impact. I don't read spoilers for TNA because I want to be completely surprised, and the only reason I kind of found out was basically Coleman let me guess, and I guessed, and he told me I was right. So Austin Aries and as Suicide, I like this a lot. Now the question is TJ go back to being Suicide, or is this the end of Suicide, and TJ Perkins is going to wrestle full time? Either way, that could work. I mean, I have no problems with that. So, hopefully that way we'll get a TJ Perkins-Joey Ryan match somewhere down the road, too. Yeah. SoCal Indies represent. So, that's going to be the show for today. So, hope you guys out there watched it and enjoyed the show. Enjoyed this video. I'm sorry about the coughing. I'm sorry about the weird nose rubbing. I'm sorry about the, it's just sinuses, I guess. I don't know. It's just kind of a bad time, I guess. It's sore throat. So, sorry about that, dude. That's really annoying. So, I just want to tell you guys and girls out there, I want to thank you all for helping us on our mission to get to 10,000 views before September 19th, the day I go home this year for the first of two times. And we're at 72 subscribers and 14 and change for the views. So we're not very far. We're not very far at all. And coming this Monday is going to be the official 2-month anniversary of this channel. We have been a channel since May 1st of this year. And we've come a long way in a very short amount of time. Picked up some new podcasters along the way. Got a lot of new segments. A lot of brand new fresh content every single day. From everything from Disney to Universal to music, movies, all points in between. All these new segments we've got, they've been great. So, a big thanks to everyone out there for watching. If you like these videos, tell your friends about them. Tell anybody you want about them. Retweet these videos. Share these videos on social media. You want to talk about them on college bulletin boards. Do it, please. Tell everyone you can about it. I want to get the word out about pop. We want to become a force here on the internet, and definitely, we only can do it. We can start small and get as gradual as we possibly can to become the juggernaut that I really wish we could be. But we thank everyone out there for watching these videos, and if you want to become part of this Popcaster revolution, you're more than welcome to send me an email, siroandisney@gmail.com, or you can tweet me. It's @SirOwenDisney, and you also can find me on social media on Facebook. It's Owen Disney. So, thank you guys and girls out there for watching, and we will talk wrestling again on Saturday. We will talk NXT and SmackDown from this week, and until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I gotta say about that.